Hi, K2B. I miss you, miss you, miss you. I was thinking about you guys all weekend. I miss opening up your snacks. I miss seeing you guys open each other's snacks. I miss reading with you. I miss hearing your jokes. And most of all, I miss it when we go to a special and we're a little early and we have to stand outside in the hall and we play Elsa Freeze and I freeze you with my powers. I tried to play it with my kids and they don't freeze. They don't get me. They don't get me like you get me, K2B. But I will say this. This morning, I did a braid in my hair, and about an hour later, it started snowing. So I'm pretty sure my powers are real. It's springtime, and my braid made it start to snow outside. I'm just saying. But anyway, I wanted to read a book to you today, and it's called Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? By Dr. Seuss. And if I never told you before, I should tell you now. I love Dr. Seuss. Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? By Dr. Seuss. Ooh. This book, with love, is for Phyllis the Jackson. I wonder who Phyllis the Jackson is. When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries. He sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, then when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, muchly, much, much more unlucky than you. Be glad you don't work on the Bunglebung Bridge that they're building across from Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Well, that's true. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zate Highway 8. That traffic looks pretty bad. Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazette with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. Yeesh. Just suppose you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdimbulator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gick or the gore fits into the scrux or the snux or the snore. Yes, ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thromdimbulator apart. Whew. I don't like that mess, but I do like that this guy keeps calling me ducky. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Ollie Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard. And it's quick-growing grass. And it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay is the piffulous pay of 2 duklas a day. And Ollie can't live on such piffulous pay, so he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays in Gruz. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. Oh, man. That is a tough gig. And poor Mr. Bix. Every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his borfin to fix. It doesn't seem fair. It just doesn't seem right. But his borfin just seems to go schlump every night. It schlumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unschlump it, and then the night air comes back, and it schlumps once again. So don't you feel blue. Don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a borfin that schlumps, I'll say. And while we are at it, consider the schlots, the crumple-horn, web-footed, green-bearded schlots, whose tail is entailed with unsolvable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella. That's just what I'll do. Well, I don't think that's necessary. And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of saddle held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter, T-crosser, I-dotter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an I and T factory out in Van Nuys. Look at all those. And they just keep going around and around in that factory, and that's all he does all day. How unlucky. Oh, the jobs people work at. Out west near Hotch Hotch, there's a Hotch Hotcher bee watcher. His job is to watch, is to keep both his eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder. Not much. So then somebody said, our old bee watching man just isn't bee watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another Hotch Hotcher. The thing that we need is a bee watcher watcher. Well, the bee watcher watched the bee watcher. He didn't watch well, so another Hotch Hotcher had to come in as a watch watcher watcher. And today, all the Hotchers who live in Hotch Hotch are watching on Watch Watcher Watchering Watch. Watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a Hotch Watcher, so you're lucky, you see. I am glad I don't live there. And how fortunate you're not Professor DeBreeze, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Givanese. What the heck is Givanese? And think of the poor puffing Pooglehorn players who have to parade down the Pooglehorn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Poop-Boken. It's awful how often their poogles get broken. Well, of course they do. Look at those things they have to ride down the stairs every morning. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Haddo. Try as he will, he can't make a shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his giz. And I think that, by golly, there probably is. Poor Harry. And the brothers Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo. Suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do. You think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly more unlucky than you. What kind of hair is this? Hair, beard, hair, beard. They're all attached. Every single one of them. And suppose that you lived in that forest in France where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. Eee! But your pants are safe. You're a fortunate guy. And you ought to be shouting, how lucky am I? Oh, my. And speaking of plants, you should be greatly gladdish you're not Farmer Falkenberg's 17th radish. Well, what's wrong with the 17th radish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That guy's coming to eat it. Oh, boy. And he's sleeping. He doesn't even know. And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Ronk. Ronk is rather run down. Believe me, I know. And you're so lucky you're not a left sock left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. Thank goodness that's not you. That's why I say, ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh, ever so much more unlucky than you. And that's it. So K2B. Some days I feel like, oh, I'm having an unlucky day. And when you're older, maybe I'll tell you the story of one night before Thanksgiving, skunks got into our basement and were spraying their stink all over. And we were supposed to have my whole family over for Thanksgiving. Oh, that was an unlucky day. But do you know what Mr. Cook and I said to each other that night? We said, some days we have bad luck, but we never ever had the worst luck. And that's pretty lucky. So if you feel like you're having an unlucky day, just think of one good thing. One good thing. And it could be a simple thing like maybe you have a really great skill or a really great talent, and I know that you do. Or maybe you love somebody and they love you right back. That's about the luckiest thing there is. So if you ever feel like you're having an unlucky day, just remember that one thing that lets you know that you might have bad luck, but it definitely isn't the worst luck, and that is still pretty lucky. So I hope that you are feeling good, and I hope that you are being good, and I hope that you are doing good things and enjoying the snow that I brought you. You're welcome. And I will see you tomorrow with another book. Goodbye. I love you.